SpaceX gets approval to build big Falcon rocket in L.A. If we're going to get to infinity and beyond, looks like we're going to have to start in the City of Angels. Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti announced Monday that SpaceX will build Mars spaceships at a facility at the Port of L.A. According to the L.A. Times, SpaceX asked for permission to lease a 90-acre site called Berth 240 at the former Southwest Marine Shipyard. SpaceX will now need approval from the Port's Board of Harbor Commissioners to construct a 200,000-square-foot rocket ship factory for the Big Falcon rocket on a historic site. The initial 10-year lease, which contains two options for 10-year extensions, has a starting annual rent of around $1.38 million, with annual adjustments based on the Consumer Price Index. Business Insider reports the Big Falcon rocket is a two-part launch vehicle designed to transport 100 people and 150 tons of cargo into space. When complete, it will be more than 348 feet tall. The fully reusable rocket can be quickly refueled and is designed to burn liquid methane, which can be manufactured on other planets and moons in the solar system, including Mars. Commencing countdown, engines on. 3, 2, 1, blast off. SpaceX is all set to launch the world's most powerful rocket into deep space, and with it, a most unusual cargo: Elon Musk's own car. The Falcon Heavy rocket features 3 Falcon 9 engine cores that are powered by 27 Merlin engines. Instead of concrete or steel blocks that act as mass simulators, the rocket's payload will be a red Tesla Roadster. The Falcon Heavy is designed to get large payloads into space and opens up the possibility of sending manned missions to the Moon or Mars. The powerful vehicle has 2,500 tons of thrust on liftoff, equal to 18 Boeing 747s at full throttle. Its maiden flight is scheduled for late January. A lot of risk is associated with the rocket, which could blow up on ascent. If successful, the Tesla Roadster will be sent into Mars orbit, where it will remain for 1 billion years. On top of this, SpaceX is also aiming to land and recover all 3 of the Heavy's first-stage cores. Meanwhile, on Monday, the Dow Jones reported that lawmakers have been informed about the apparent destruction of a secretive payload, codenamed Zuma, after being taken into space on a recent SpaceX launch. The payload reportedly may have burned up in the atmosphere after failing to separate correctly from the SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket.
Luxury space hotel to blast off in 2021. To infinity, and where poor people can't afford to go. Startup Orion Span announced on Thursday it plans to build a luxury space hotel to launch in late 2021 and start accepting guests by 2022. A 12-day stay at Aurora Station will begin at $9.5 million. The space station will be roughly the same size as a large private jet cabin. It will be 43.5 feet long by 14.1 feet wide and have a pressurized volume of 5,650 cubic feet. It will orbit at an altitude of 200 miles. For comparison, the International Space Station is 357 feet long and has an internal pressurized volume of 32,333 cubic feet. The Aurora Station will be able to accommodate 4 paying guests and 2 crew members. Orion Span is also planning to add new modules to the space hotel over time. Long term, the company says it hopes to sell actual space and new modules for living or subleasing.
Scientists hope to launch interstellar fleet of laser-propelled spacecraft. A hit team of renowned scientists, Silicon Valley elites, and a billionaire businessman have come together to launch a fleet of postage stamp-sized interstellar spacecraft. Sounds like the pitch for a bad Bond movie, right? Well, if it was, 007 would have his hands full. Because this team includes scientist supreme Dr. Stephen Hawking, Russian billionaire Yuri Milner, and Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg. All technology, including the camera for the tiny interstellar spacecraft, will be placed inside a postage stamp-sized chip. Called a star chip, this device would come with a light sail to form a nanocraft. The sail has a surface that would use Earth-based laser light to propel it along. The lasers would come from a mile-wide laser array potentially situated 13,000 feet above sea level in the Atacama Desert in South America. Using light energy from the 100-gigawatt laser array, the team plans to send a fleet of these nanocrafts to our closest star system, Alpha Centauri. If successful, a nanocraft could travel at 20% of the speed of light, or 134.2 million miles per hour, using laser light propulsion. At that speed, a nanocraft could traverse the 25 trillion miles to Alpha Centauri in a matter of decades, while a current spacecraft would take thousands of years. Dubbed Breakthrough Starshot, Milner has invested around $100 million in the nanocraft concept. However, it will still potentially cost billions and could take up to 30 years to get a swarm of the devices into space if the concept is shown to be successful.
No more photography duty for astronauts. The Japanese Aerospace Exploration Agency has developed a cute floating camera drone that can lighten the workload of astronauts on the International Space Station. The INT ball weighs 1 kilo and has a diameter of 15 centimeters. It uses the existing drone technology, miniaturized altitude control sensors and actuators in an all-in-one module. The INT ball arrived at the International Space Station last month and is remotely controlled by the JAXA Tsukuba Space Center from the ground. In the future, the INT ball is expected to take over photography duties from the space crew and will be able to operate autonomously. At the moment, astronauts on the ISS spend around 10% of their time just taking photos and videos. With this camera drone's help, they now perhaps will have a bit more personal time in space.